Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for watching here on this day after Christmas at noontime, or Boxing Day, if you will. I'm Rolly Hoyt here with meteorologist Corrales Ortiz. I'm just getting back to work today. I know a lot of folks still have a holiday today, but the talk all throughout Christmas and all that was the massive weather change that we had last week.
Like the end of last week, it was a really interesting transition from warm temperatures to that drastic drop throughout the day. And then it was cold and quiet through the holiday weekend. At least it wasn't bad.
Very cold.
The cold temperatures hopefully got you in the holiday spirit, but we're going to start to see some changes in the forecast later this week.
All right, we'll get back to Corrales in just 1 second as we shake the cobwebs off of our microphones here. But many of you have been keeping your faucets dripping during the bitter cold weather that we talked about over the weekend. Different cities all over the state have been dealing with the burst pipes, one of those down in Hot Springs, asking people there to conserve water after some major lines broke. A dripping faucet might seem like a waste, but in the cold, it helps the water from freezing. When water freezes, it expands, and that can cause enough pressure to burst the pipes in your home or any place else. Even just a slow trickle keeps the water moving enough to make it harder to freeze. Now, if you're worried about wasting water or a high water bill, you want to be extra careful. You could also add insulation around your pipes or turn off the water and drain your system so there's no water left in the pipes to freeze. Nationally, the death toll from this massive winter storm system has risen to at least 48, including more than 24 in Buffalo, New York. Fewer than 100,000 customers across the U.S. remain without power this afternoon after the storm gave much of the country a freezing cold Christmas. But the problems at the airports continue. Christian Benavides has the latest from Miami, where a couple of dozen of flights have been canceled just this morning.
The snow battering Buffalo, New York is showing no signs of letting up. Officials expect the area to get another 8 to 12 inches by Tuesday afternoon.
This is not helpful as we're trying to recover and clear off streets and get into areas that still have not had a plow.
That's on top of 3.5 feet that came down over the weekend, making most roads in the area impassable.
Cars everywhere, pointing the wrong direction on roads. They've basically been plowed in.
Hundreds of thousands of Americans experienced power outages at some point over the weekend, from Maine to Washington State.
It was cold.
This man and his family spent Christmas at a library-turned-warming shelter in Roanoke, Virginia.
This is a warm place, and it's for everybody. It's a lot better than our place right now.
The frigid temperatures also caused major disruptions across the South. Burst water pipes brought a wet Christmas for Georgia repair crews and led to a boil water advisory in parts of Mississippi.
Can't cook, we can't wash our dishes.
The weather is causing major trouble at airports nationwide. Thousands of flights have been either canceled or delayed Monday morning, according to FlightAware.
I understand everybody's frustrated. We can't control the weather.
That's in addition to the more than 9,000 flights that were canceled or delayed on Christmas Day. Christian Benavides, CBS News, Miami.
And as Corrales alluded to a moment ago, temperatures are expected to climb across the nation and here in Arkansas this week, but forecasters say there's still a chance that rain and melting ice out west could bring flooding through tomorrow, all the way from Seattle down to San Francisco. Other news, and looking overseas now, Russia is claiming that 3 people died from falling debris after the country shot down a Ukrainian drone they said had been attacking a Russian airbase. This comes after Russian President Vladimir Putin says Moscow is ready for talks to end the 10-month-long war. However, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky told lawmakers in Washington just last week that there could be, quote, no compromises as to the sovereignty, freedom, and territorial integrity of my country, close quote. Soon after that, Congress authorized an additional $45 billion in aid for Ukraine. That help is part of the nearly $2 trillion spending bill President Joe Biden is set to sign into law very soon. Congress approved the measure last Friday, averting a potential partial government shutdown. The massive package includes more than $700 billion for discretionary spending like health care, education, and transportation programs. The IRS is delaying a controversial rule that would have required gig workers and online sellers who receive payments of more than $600 via an online payment platform like Cash App, PayPal, or Venmo to have to fill out a 1099-K tax form. The requirement's getting pushed back a year after e-commerce platforms like eBay and Etsy said it creates confusion. Some lawmakers also expressed concern that the rule could ensnare people just transferring funds between family and friends. The filing season will go by the old threshold of anyone who exceeds $20,000 or 200 transactions in a year in electronic payments. If you're expecting to hit the stores this week, you will not be alone. A National Retail Federation survey found that 70% of consumers plan to shop. The top reason given is to take advantage of the after-holiday sales. That's followed by those who want to use all those gift cards that we just got. And 18% of shoppers say that they plan to return unwanted gift items. Big construction projects, they're notorious for delays and running over budget. But one company says it's got a high-tech solution to get everything back on track. Ian Lee is in England, and he shows us how.
Take a look around this nearly $200 million construction project.
We've got some of the ductwork coming up through one of the risers to the upper floors.
Project manager Bruce Preston juggles millions of pieces to help this hospital in England take shape.
So we've got 2,300 rooms and spaces that we need to keep track of what's going on in every one of those spaces.
Tracking progress is usually done by hand, but on this job, a 360-degree camera is capturing every inch of the site, using artificial intelligence to compare the images to the building's blueprints.
To green whether it's all done, or orange whether it's work still to do.
Tech firm BuildDots says their AI system catches mistakes before they become a costly problem.
How many times does the industry lose money because it finds out way down the line that we missed something?
Construction is estimated to be a $10 trillion industry worldwide, with about $1.6 trillion wasted every year by productivity problems. Aviv Lebovici and his partners at BuildDots saw an opportunity.
This tool is about giving them the information to make the right decisions. How can you plan next week without knowing exactly where you are?
Building on time and on budget is good, especially when you're footing the bill.
Getting it right and having zero defects is really important to us.
And with a smarter pair of eyes on this job site, workers say their vision is already coming into focus. Ian Lee, CBS News, Bournemouth, England.
All right, I know it seems like you just put it up, but as the green in your live Christmas tree starts to fade, it's equally important to think green. After the break, our Verify team looks to give you the answer on how to best recycle your trees. And Corrales?
The next holiday in the forecast is into the New Year holiday, and I'll be tracking what we can expect in our forecast, and that includes a bit of warm up and a bit of rain.